Can plasma coagulate blood? Yeah, it can. But there are many, many, many details in that discussion. So let's chat about it. Hello, my name is Greg Friedman. I'm a bioengineer with background in electric discharges. I've been doing this for a while, and now I have this channel where I chat about it. So can plasma coagulate blood? Yes. But there are different kinds of bleeding. So bleeding from, a gunshot wound versus epistaxis, like a nosebleed, versus, microbleeding during brain surgery. They're all very different. Like a paper cut is different from a shark bite. And different plasmas can be used to coagulate blood, and some of them are already in a medical setting in a hospital for a long, long time. There is something called OV electrosurgery. It's a thermal plasma torch that is used to coagulate kind of profuse bleeding. So there's lots of bleeding, but just like, 1,000, 3,000 years ago, you would take a hot knife or a hot piece of steel, stick it in a fire, and go ksh, 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 ksh. There's lots of tissue damage, necrosis, like lots of dead tissue, lots of opportunity for bacteria to get out, but at least you're not losing tons of blood. OV electrosurgery, or just thermal plasma for blood coagulation, is a much more elegant, much more precise, and much better controlled way to achieve the same thing. And you're probably in a hospital getting that done, so the wound dressing will take care of antimicrobial and all that kind of stuff. There are new plasmas in development, specifically sparks, dielectric barrier discharge, and plasma jets. They're all used in different kinds of blood coagulation, specifically during like microsurgeries, like a brain surgery or nosebleeds, or any kind of medical procedure where capillary bleeding needs to be controlled. And that's where really cool stuff happens. So when you're talking about blood coagulation, just, if you have a paper cut, eventually the bleeding will stop and blood will coagulate by itself. There are two processes in blood. They're called intrinsic and extrinsic coagulation cascades. So one is triggered internally by your body, one is triggered externally, mainly by exposure to oxygen and damage to your cells. And both coagulation cascades, so both heavily biochemical, biological processes that happen in your body to coagulate blood, both are very sensitive to oxidation. And as you probably know, plasma is a very strong oxidizer. So when you start oxidizing blood, you can pour hydrogen peroxide on your wound and the blood will coagulate. Well, imagine that, but uncracked, 10 times faster. So yes, plasma can coagulate blood, and very effectively, and there are lots of different applications. So some of the plasma coagulation devices are already in a hospital, some are being developed, and some are at early stages. Some are deep in animal trials, some are in preclinical trials, some are just still an idea. And this is a large field. When you're talking about bleeding, it's all sorts of different kinds of bleeding, pressure sores, venous ulcers, lots of medical conditions where control of bleeding is important, where blood coagulation is important, and plasma is one of the tools that are being developed for medical professionals, or think like dental surgeries or ear, nose, and throat surgeries. Lots of different applications. So yes, in short, plasma can coagulate blood, and I'll leave you today with what I think is a cool story. It is luck. What is luck? Luck is being at the right place, at the right time, with the right tools. So I got really lucky. I actually probably owe my entire career in plasma medicine, to this one lucky event. I was friends with this young lady she was doing her residency at the medical school. And back then, medical device manufacturers were allowed to sponsor medical conferences. So anytime there is a talk or some kind of event at the hospital, J&J or Ethicon or Becton Dickinson, some medical device manufacturer would frequently sponsor it, and that meant really awesome food. So my friend called me one day. This was right before texting. So she called me and she's like, lunch. I didn't have to know anything else. There's probably some boring lecture. I don't care. I heard lunch. She's calling me from medical school. I'm on the bus heading over there already. Because, free food, and I'm a grad student back then. And I get to this lunch, and the lecture, it was a lecture, in fact, really nice sandwiches. I still remember the cold cuts, and it's awesome. It's nice when a medical device manufacturer sponsors it. But anyway, lecture was by this guy, Rick Satava, and he was from DARPA. Never heard of them back then. It's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. And this is around year 2001, 2002, 2001, somewhere there. And he was talking about military medicine of the future. This is Battlefield 2030 was his lecture. And at the end of the lecture, he showed this cartoon, this video, that showed, bullets that auto-target and all sorts of AI and that kind of stuff off the battlefield. And there was a medical helicopter that picked up the soldier, fully robotics, everything robotics, and the soldier is bleeding. And there was this purple glow that went over his bleeding wound and coagulated the blood. And back then, I was working on plasma coagulation of blood. So I was like, holy crap, like this cartoon is exactly what I do. So I ran up to the guy and I'm like, sir, what is that device called? And he looks at me, he's like, kid, that's a cartoon. I'm like, no, what's the device called? Because I invented it. And he's like, no, kid, it's a cartoon. I'm like, would you like to come to my lab and look at it? And long story short, DARPA funded us. I mean, the actual proposal was very scientific, but really, DARPA funded us to figure out if that part of the cartoon can be made real. And yes, it can. You can use plasma to coagulate the bleeding wound, sterilize the tissue, and promote wound healing. I'll make more videos about wound healing, but there you have it. It's a fun story how one little accident basically kicked off my career in plasma medicine. So not accident, one little event, luck. So I wish you all the luck, peace. I'll see you in the next video.